Nas wasted no time firing back at Jim Jones after Jim tried to clown him, but it ended up backfiring big time. So here's how the whole Nas versus Jim Jones talk even started. Jim showed up on the Joe and Jada podcast talking wild. He said he used to be a huge Nas fan, but now feels like his own catalog, Billboard record, and how relevant he is with the younger generation totally outshines Nas.
To go to the Billboard entries, pull up Nas Billboard entries. He's just son.
No, but he knows.
My son, my son can't tell you one Nas record.
That one comment sent social media into a frenzy. Everybody across the hip-hop world tuned in to stand up for Nas. And it's kind of crazy when you think about it, because this whole Jim Jones versus Nas conversation got revived because of a snippet from the Don't Quote Me podcast a few weeks back. A 22-year-old college kid from New Jersey said Jim Jones has more impact on his generation than Nas does. That clip blew up and got folks debating the generational split in hip-hop all over again. This is what was said during that conversation.
Pop Champagne, Summer in Miami, that's a classic.
If I Rule the World, how's that comparable to those songs you just said?
I'm 22. Every Nas song that my man's MJ played, we said we heard that from what, Dub?
2K.
2K. Those songs are in the video game.
Okay.
I have never in my life said at a party, yo, throwing that Nas right now. If you did top 3 influential people regarding dressing.
And just like that, Jim felt the need to answer back on the Joe and Jada podcast. To be fair, he did admit he once idolized Nas, but claimed he built his own lane over the years. So here we are again. The Nas versus Jim Jones beef is alive and well. But this isn't some new beef either. If you've been paying attention since back in the day, you remember that tension back in the mid-2000s when Dipset was rolling heavy with Jay-Z and Rockefeller during that legendary Nas versus Jay-Z era. It didn't take long for Jim Jones to jump right into the mix, and what started out as respect turned into shots real quick. He was out here in interviews saying stuff like, Nas, I don't give a damn about Nas. He's a rapper that just lost his pizzazz. Meanwhile, Nas never even wasted his time responding directly. No diss tracks, no bars aimed at Jim, just slick moves and subtle flexes to show that dudes like Jim weren't on his level. Check out this clip from back in 2005 when Nas let the fans speak for him when he brought up Jim Jones.
These niggas like a Jim Jones, like, I respect you getting your money. You're like, exactly, man.
That energy never really went away. Now here we are again, and Jim is pushing that same narrative but louder than ever. And before it could die down, he doubled down on Shannon Sharpe's Night Cap podcast. Shannon called him out, asking if he really believes he's a better rapper than Nas. Jim didn't flinch. He said he'd run circles around Nas.
I will run circles around Nas rapping right. I will run circles around Nas rapping right now.
That fired things up even more. Shannon threw in some shade by pointing out that this podcast was probably the biggest thing Jim's ever done.
Hey, this is the biggest podcast you ever been on.
Name one Nas record.
This is the biggest podcast you ever been on. Do you know what podcast you've been on better than this?
As for Nas, he's not giving this drama any energy. He knows that's exactly what Jim wants. Let's be real, Nas has been putting out Grammy-level albums, selling out shows, and working closely with Hit Boy for years now. The music does all the talking he needs. His silence is his clapback. For real hip-hop heads, Nas not saying a word while Jim keeps going in circles says it all. Switching gears, Amory stayed quiet for years, but now she's finally speaking out about the rumors that Beyoncé blackballed her after supposedly stealing her sound. In a new sit-down with Joe Rogan, Amory finally talked about the comparisons with Beyoncé. And while she didn't come out and directly accuse her, the way she described her struggles made a lot of people start connecting the dots.
What were your true feelings when he ended up giving Beyoncé that song that they said that she wanted to talk about?
Yeah. So the biggest debate has always been about the similarities between Amory's Smash One Thing and Beyoncé's Crazy in Love. For years, people have been saying producer Rich Harrison originally made Crazy in Love for Amory, but Jay-Z ended up giving it to Beyoncé instead. Amory has never really thrown public shade though, and in that Joe Rogan interview, she said she doesn't know if that story is true. And about the similarities? She said it makes sense since both tracks were produced by Rich Harrison.
I didn't hear all these stories.
No, I've heard everything. Are you shitting me?
Of course, I really didn't hear the stories about that particular song. No, I didn't hear it. Like, I didn't hear anything about it, but a lot of people would be like, wait, that's not your record? Why did he give that record to you? And I'm like, he never played that record for me. I mean, it's really simple. It's like we did the first album, right? And after the first album came out, it made a lot of noise and people really like really love that album.
Still, Amory did share that Jay-Z loved her first album, which made some fans feel like that pretty much confirms he borrowed her style for Beyoncé.
And Jay loved the album too. Like Jay-Z loved the first album.
But here's why some people think Amory's not telling the whole story. Her come-up happened right when Beyoncé was trying to break away from Destiny's Child and go solo. Hard to imagine now. But back then it wasn't all smooth for Beyoncé. She needed that one big hit to make her mark. That big hit turned out to be Crazy in Love with Jay-Z. But not long after, people started noticing how both the song and the music video for Crazy in Love looked and felt super close to one thing. Both were co-written and produced by Rich Harrison, so sure, some overlap makes sense. But here's where it gets shady. Some insiders claim Beyoncé was furious when Jay-Z did a remix of One Thing, and supposedly she convinced him to pull Rich Harrison away from Amory. Jaguar Wright even said that after Aaliyah's passing, there was room for the next big R&B princess, and Beyoncé was determined to take that spot by any means necessary. And according to Jaguar, that's how Jay-Z ended up snatching Rich Harrison from Amory. True or not, it was enough to push Amory away from the music world. She realized you have to crush people to make it, and she wasn't about that life. Amory's smart, educated, and knew she didn't need music to succeed. So when she left, she put her English degree to use and focused on writing instead. By 2017, she was a best-selling author with her book, Because You Love to Hate Me, and she even started her own book club. Recently, she talked more about all this during an interview with Tamron Hall, opening up about how she found real fulfillment outside of the music game. Amory said she got into music because she loved to create, but quickly realized that as a woman in the industry, there were expectations that had nothing to do with the art.
I mean, you have so many female artists, and you will see a lot of female artists get, for instance, lots of advertisements, and they'll be on certain magazines, and they have a certain thing that men don't have. But a lot of people who make a lot of the decisions in the industry are men, and that's not necessarily a bad thing always, but when people come in with what they expect of women, it's very much like singing like I told you, do it like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, singing like I told you.
And so when you write your own music and you have your own vision, I think it can be a little jarring for some people. And for me, I never went into it to just do the magazine stuff. Actually, that was the stuff I just was like, you have to do this in order to create.
Even so, Amory made it clear she has no regrets about stepping away from the spotlight. So that's the story, the NAS and Jim Jones drama that never really died, and Amory's side of the story about Beyoncé and how the industry really works behind the scenes. What do you think? Drop your thoughts in the comments, let's get into it. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.